Age of medalists for Olympic sports. What have you done? The pain. Hi, Clicky Kitty. You're here too. That's cool. I have never had a video bring this much physical pain to my body. Well, good evening, laddies, lasses, and louses, and welcome to the Click You Look. Dandy, fine, delicious today, if I may say so myself, especially you, Karen. That's right, Karen. Have you joined the light side? Yet, Karen. Oh, joke's on you, we're all going to hell on this channel. Booyah! Today, we're gonna do something beautiful. The internet is an ignorant place, that is right. Today, welcome to Professor Click. Today, we're gonna look at Data is Ugly, which is graphs and presentations of things that are just abhorrently bad. Time to educate the masses. AKA a little bit of clicky, thicky, wicky brainwashing. I do hope you enjoy it. And you should cribe, because it makes your brain voluptuously throbbing. As an Indian woman, I can confirm that too much of my time is spent hiding behind a rock, praying the terrifying gang of international giant ladies and their Leviathan general don't find me. Average female height per country. So here we have Latvia, Austria, India. What have you done? You know your data is fricked when like the average height of someone is up to your kneecap. What is this? Okay, let me do a comparison. Here's the height of your average Swede. Here's the height of your average Danish person. You see? It's not very large. Okay, but in all honesty though, if you're gonna make a graph like this, for God's sake, start it at 0. What are you doing? That goes for any data. If it can go to 0, you should start it at 0. You need to be educated in where graphs start. My God. Moving on. Here we have a heat map of temperature. The only detail is that the gray thing repeats itself like 3 times. How am I supposed to read this? It doesn't make sense. What? Who made this? The question that I feel everyone at home is asking, where does your favorite F1 team come from? It's very simple. Here you have sponsors, Red Bull and stuff, Ferrari and Alfa, and then you have all the connections going to the, oh God! And then it's Alpine McLaren, and it's just, good data. Okay, here we have a couple of racers. Race 2, why is that aligned like that? This doesn't make sense. Don't hire a graphics designer to do numbers, please. And that comes from someone who works with both numbers and graphics design. So like, before you claim, oh, clicky vicky, so... Alright, so, aggressions. I need them to come out. Gun deaths in Florida. Number of murders committed using firearms. Here we have 873, and here we go, and 721. But how is that, like, higher up than 800... Did you just flip the graph upside down so it shows like what you want it to show? Is that but it goes the opposite way. What have you done? And y'all seem to think monogamy is the only option. Here is my simple graph explaining what the hell. Open relationship, Paul and Marius, unicorn, Paul, what is a unicorn? BDSM, so where's the food court? Okay, here we go. We know local response matters. Here is a graph of the Spanish flu. On the y-axis, we have St. Louis, and on the x-axis, we have Philadelphia. When you don't have a lot of Philadelphia, you also don't have a lot of St. Louis. As you gain more Philadelphia, you gain more St. Louis to a point, but then it starts going back down. So if you don't want a lot of St. Louis, make sure you either have a lot or very little Philadelphia. Obviously. Shoe color frequency. White, blue, yellow, black, but it doesn't match the color. I am like low-key colorblind, and even I see the errors with this graph. Please cease. Who hired you? What grade are you in? 26% freshman, 26% senior, 26... But why have you... First off, it goes to 104%. Secondly, why is it... Oh my God, this hurts. Oh, this is physical pain. 16 hours fasted is less than 8 hours fed. What? When Venn diagram goes wrong. Trust, partnership, innovation, performance, our values, and they don't really overlap. Can you imagine a company actually using that? At our place, we have no trust, no innovation, no new thinking, everything sucks. At least they're honest. That adds up to like 90% of all jobs I've had. We work with innovation. Let's sit in an Excel sheet 90% of our time and do nothing. US unemployment rate. Look at that. It really dipped until you realized that they like flipped the graph upside down. Why did you flip it upside down? What's the point of this? This is my service. Don't use write-ins. Okay, which games have you played the most? That's a lot of games. Okay, Zelda, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Wild, Breath of... It's all the same. It's literally all the same. I remember we had a thing like this for like mod applications on my Discord server. You should check out the Discord server, by the way. It's a beautiful place where we learn so much about each other. That's right. Do you want to learn things about me? Anyway, so, yeah, you should come there. It's a good place. But anyway, we had a question like this for age, and we had like staples for every single age. Like, oh, I am 15 and a half. Wow, Timmy, that's, wow. The marvel that is 3D stacked scatter pie columns. Why? This is, no. I understand, like, the thought behind it, but no. All ideas are good except for the horrible ones, and this is, oh my... I can feel my IQ dropping from just recording this video. Post made mid-pandemic with no date for reference. This will make the rounds on Facebook for months. Number of deaths caused by various pandemics, normalized by world population. Okay, you just have, like, arbitrary sizes for bugs in different years, and COVID is there. This doesn't mean... You don't have anything in this. What? This will just be some Facebook illiterate Karen mom who just looks at this and say, look, COVID is smaller than other stuff. That means it's not as good. Or maybe it's because we have a modern society and like information travel so we can actually tackle the things. Doesn't mean that the disease is harmless. What the frick frack? Cycle nature of normal grief response over time. You see, you grieve and then you go back in time and then it goes down and then back in time again. And we're basically time travelers. Anxiety is time travel. Looking down on the rest of the world, average male height in meters. Here we go, the Netherlands, USA, Canada, and people from the Philippines are really tiny. That's like... this gives me some Lord of the Rings fantasy vibe. Philippines are hobbits, confirmed. Easily the funniest data visualization I've ever seen. First off, is a pie chart. The total is greater than 100%. The relevant categories are today, last year, and the year 1997. The margin of error is listed as the source. Americans who have tried marijuana, 51% today, 43% 1997. Source, plus minus 4%. This feels like when you have a puzzle and like the same piece fits into multiple places and it's like, source? I don't know, we have this little piece of information. We can just like, yeah, it fits. All right, this is a beautiful. Percent change from previous year. Percent change in marijuana use among high school students. Percent change in total hot dog sales throughout the United States. The hell does this mean? Are you trying to show that there's a correlation between hot dog consumption and marijuana consumption? Okay, quick lesson here. There are a lot of correlations in the world that are not actually causations. For example, there is a correlation between ice cream consumption and the likelihood of you getting robbed or pickpocketed. And then you say, wow, how can ice cream cause this? That is outrageous. But not so fast there, Timmy. Not so fast there, Timmy. So what this actually means is that when you go on vacation, you are much more likely to consume larger proportions of ice cream. When you go on vacations, you're also much more likely to get pickpocketed. You know, someone snags a purse or, you know, goes into your back pocket when you're standing in line somewhere. It's pretty natural. So while these two correlate with each other, it's due to a different causation, which is, well, traveling to other places in the world. It has nothing to do with the ice cream in itself. Fun little data lesson. Moving on with the horrible. Chart 3. 10 stocks in S and P500 accounted for over 50% in August, 7.2% return. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook says, oh my god! Election Presidential 2013. Look at this. The 50.66% is really a lot bigger than 49%. Your bias is showing. Latino includes Brazil. French does not include Spain. Hispanic includes Spain. Does not. That's not how you use a Venn diagram. When you have something on one side, that means it's not included on the other side. What are you doing? You're like using a Venn diagram, but not using a Venn diagram. This is like a weird, unholy, abominational merge between a Venn diagram and like a bullet point list. Glach. Customer reviews. 3 stars, 1 star, 1, 2 star, 2, 4, 4 stars. God. Violent crime is a very big problem. Look how it's going up, apart from the fact that, you know, we flipped the year scale, so we're actually going back in time. Whatever you need to prove your point, fam. This is so dumb. Top stores, stream, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play. Am I just colorblind or is this like impossible to separate? This is when you give the graphics team a bit too much freedom with how they present the data. Oh, but if we use the same color scheme for everything, that means the website is looking more like unified. It's f***ing unreadable, but it's unified. Tokyo Games Medal Race. Whoa, careful there, US. Your bias is showing. Wow. Oh, this over here is a doozy. You ever wonder which browser you should use? Here you go, here's a helpful diagram. Browser support Windows 10, Microsoft's Edge, and you have probably, maybe, and supports Dolby Atmos. Microsoft Edge is probably true, maybe true, and supports Dolby Atmos. Chrome is probably false, maybe true, and Firefox is probably no, maybe false. And they're probably false, maybe true. Amazing. Thank you for this helpful diagram. How concerned are you about the Zika virus? Not at all, 13%. The majority of 13%, obviously, by the grace. Somewhat, 28% is nothing. Gender of playable characters by genre, 2010 to 2020. Male, female, non-gender, role-playing games, action shooter. What do you mean? But there's no time scale. What do you mean 2010 to 2020? Or do you mean like the percentages change over the years? Is that what this means? Don't use a line chart for something that isn't like continuous data. What are you doing? This is bogus. Map of New York rodent sightings for 1 year. Oh my god. We asked you. Are you stocking up on supplies as a result of COVID-19? Yes, 22%. That's a majority right there. Whoosh kaba. I think they just switched the percentages from the looks of it. Because that 22% looks very much like 78%. Slightly more than 3/4, you know? World map with nation size skewed by number of Indonesian speakers. Very useful. We should replace all maps with this. Yes. What are your plans after high school? And 1% is almost as much as 3%. That's almost as much as 91%. Women receive 58% of college degrees today, and then we have a progression here that shows that 58% is actually bigger than 58%. Nice. Every 11 seconds, 1 in 4 Americans age 65 plus experience a fall-related injury requiring emergency medical attention. Wait, every 11 seconds, 1 in 4 Americans... Wait, so you mean... every 44 seconds, 100% of the elderly population has fallen and basically died? Hi, we're all happy here today. Performance in COD26, MAD, and NVIDIA. Look at how better that performance is until you look at the actual graph, and it's a 72.2 and 72.1. Wow. It's a difference in like, what is that, 1/100th of an FPS, but they zoom in the top of the graph so much that it looks much more than it is. You gotta get that advantage somewhere, fam. Yes, indeed, twist the graphics in your favor. States where physicians are highly paid have lower COVID mortality per capita. That does not look like an appropriate regression curve. Holy crap. This plot does not show what you say it show. Paying physicians more will not decrease COVID mortality. Not really, and also, this just looks like you have manipulated the data. When you make a regression, basically, you have to look at how big the residuals are to see how significant this correlation actually is. From the looks of it, they're all pretty much aligned like that, just on a vertical line. There isn't a correlation progression in this curve. You have just like forcefully, removed a couple of outliers and, have really, really big residual values to like, forcefully get a curve that shows what you wanted to show. This is basically pseudo-science. Stop doing it. You suck. COVID cases and death in Petrol, Brazil. You see, we have 8 mortis here, and that's the same as 8 mortis. No, it's bigger than 8 mortis. Oh my god. Imagine being the reporter and realizing this and just, I gotta play along with this. Steve in graphics, what have you done? The decline of artistic standards. Standards year, and you see hit round high with millennials. It's just... That's when my channel was made. You see? Right there around 1975. That's when I made my channel. Olympic medals by country. Holy what? The shades are the same! WikiHow on map comparing range of alligators and crocodiles. You see, you have crocodiles and alligators, and they are in these 2 states. Wow, what a good graphic. Someone from my university made a visualization of prerequisites / restrictions for every course. What the fuck? Hey, Timmy, you know what you want to study for college? Here's an easy graph for you to check. Have you ever felt cheated, tricked, or deceived into opening a promotional email? That email subject line? Yes? No? If only there was a way to, combine the yes and the no into the same graphic. Oh, wait, there is. You just copied it for no reason whatsoever. It's literally the same graphic, just mirrored with a different title. Why do you do this? If you were to use marijuana, why would you use it? Oh, what is this graph? Why have you used a linear graph for this? What was wrong with you? Please cease. The best stock for the long-term Spotify. Revenue growth. The bars mean nothing. It's completely pointless. This is just for it to look colorful and cute. Oh, look at this. Someone has created a nice little exponential graph using 2 data points. This is not possible. What are you doing? You have a data point 2 and 4. Is it linear? Is it like this? Is it like this? You don't know. It's impossible to know. And you just assume... Have you ever dyed your hair? Yes, no, I have, and it's 22, 43, and 35. Which one is which? Who freaking knows? Not important. Who is responsible for the lack of preparedness for COVID? Rank Trump, Obama, the CDC, and state health agencies. Who is most responsible? Probability Trump, state agencies. What the fuck? Least, what the? Republican, Democrat, other... What is it? God freaking... So for Obama, for example, Democrats think he's not very responsible, and they think Trump is more responsible. But if you're a Republican, you think Obama is more responsible than Trump. The CDC is, and the other is a bit of a wild card. And they... God, oh my freaking... What? Wearing face masks. Always frequently wore a face mask outside home. Denmark, Sweden, Norway are these lines, and then we have 0, 50, 100%. Okay, wait, so the colors are age groups, 18 to 24, 25 to 60, and 65 plus. And the random little dots are averages. this random dot, there's half of 65 plus. What? And then we have Denmark, Sweden, Norway, who are just random lines down here too? Or is every line a country? And the yellow dots are international averages? This is the worst presentation I've seen in my life. What is the color of your eye? Amber, blue, brown... It doesn't even match. This is so horrible. And it's not sorted either. This is just a mess. I don't like... No, I'm moving on. Texas Secretary of State has a unique way of reporting primary results. Huh! How is anyone supposed to read this? I'm not gonna read this. For this, I am... Oh no, I am temporarily illiterate. Oh, what a shame. Influenza activity report in the US. High, moderate, minimal, low, insufficient data. So what does the dark ones mean? But the colors don't... match? What? Incoming space rock. The monster asteroid will skim past Earth. Oh my god, and it's 3,200 meters, and that is slightly taller than 130 meters. If you're gonna have a graphic for comparison, maybe it's a good idea to actually, have a... actually have it in scale. Okay, here we go. Business cycle theory, the economy of the short run. Inflation percent. Inflation and unemployment in the United States. What the frick? Let me get this straight. Every dot is a year, and on the x-axis we have unemployment, and on the y-axis we have inflation. And you're supposed to make sense of this somehow? Why did you use a line for this in the first place? Trump polling averages versus job trackers, swing states. Okay. This is just... If your graph looks like a 5-year-old just went mental with a couple of crayons, it's time to reevaluate how you present the data. Oh, I love pie charts. China electricity, heat, China manufacturing, and then we go. Your risk of death by shark is minuscule because they're all cute puppy land sharks. Oh, who doesn't love land sharks? Sorry. Shark 0.6, lightning 0.28, which is larger than sharks, but it's smaller. Dogs is 33.2, which is almost as much as lightning, which is less than sharks. And then we have beach drowning, which seems to be in correct graphical proportionate to dogs. Who reviewed this and thought this was a good idea? British university applications by sex, subject area, and year. Oh my god. Okay, what does this mean? Top pie chart shows 2009 ratio, and then it goes downwards in years. And then we have male, female, subsequent charts show... This is literally stacked pie charts that represent years. The idea is not terrible. It's just like... really tricky to get into and actually analyze. Average voter wait times. Whites, Native Americans, Asian Americans, Latinos, and African Americans. So how long does an African American actually wait for this? Does it mean they wait 7.5 minutes? Or does it mean that they wait 15 plus 7.5, which is 22.5? If your graph can be interpreted in two ways, it's not a good graph. This is such a disaster! So here we have a nice little heat map, and that uses the same color in both ends of the spectrum. So then you might ask, oh, the deep blue ones? I think it's deep blue. I apologize, my slight color blindness, if it's purple or something. But what I think it's deep blue appears 2 times. So is that 0 or is it 77? Who knows? Well, it's not real, it's just safe. Who can and cannot dine together from July 19th? Okay, fully vaccinated is 2 check marks. Partially vaccinated, first dose, I assume, is 1 check mark. Unvaccinated is that. A negative pre-event test result is a blue thing. Recovered from COVID in the past 270 days. So up to 2 individuals, 1 partially vaccinated and 1 unvaccinated is fine. 5 adults, when you have 3 fully vaccinated, 1 half vaccinated, 1 unvaccinated, that's not okay. 4 adults and 1 child, where the child is unvaccinated. 1 person has not vaccinated but has a negative pre-event result, and one person has had COVID but recovered, and 2 are fully vaccinated. 2 adults and 1 child, where 1 is fully... holy shit. Okay, so specifically, if you have 3 children who are unvaccinated, it's not okay, but 2 children are vaccinated, it's perfectly fine. We are living longer. Life expectancy at birth, and yahoo! When you try too hard to make a fancy graphic out of something, you can just use a linear graph, it's okay. A heat map of pie charts. Ah! You know that phobia when you have a lot of holes in something? This triggers that for me. What is this? This must be a mortal sin. 16. Number of ripe bananas Jamaican sprinter Johan Blake eats every day to keep his potassium levels up. Oh, look at that. 1 banana represents 2 of the fruit. Just why haven't you just used 1 banana for the graphic and then just a bar or something? Or just make twice as many bananas. What is this? Each banana represents 3 1/4 of the real... Immortality, life works, bad and good. Okay, so you use 1 anecdotal piece to say that evil people live longer. What about, like, Julius Caesar or someone? He wasn't, like, known to be particularly evil. He did some shady stuff, just like every person in power in history, but, like... Or, like, literally anyone who wasn't, like, Hitler. This graph is let's see now. We have 2 masculine, not masculine enough, which are part of the same pie chart. And then we have the other part, which is growing problem in today's society. And then we have masculinity levels, where you have the 2 masculine and not masculine enough, which is the entire person at the same time, but they're also getting overlapped by growing problems in today's society. And that is your total masculinity level. We have 0% incorrect and 100% correct. Oh my god, look, so much red, must be bad. Okay, average member height. We have Weekly and G-Friend and Itzy, and oh my god, look at that 8 centimeter difference. They only reach up to the kneecaps. Like we said, we have been through this. Started at 0. 0. Really? GIS temp Lottie annual global mean. Why have you presented it like this? Why? You are a schmuck. This graph is so misleading in so many ways, it's infuriating. It's a prime example of disinformation as a scientist. It makes me crazy. They chose Kelvin and started the axis at 0. 0 Kelvin is minus 273 degrees Celsius. That's the absolute 0, by the way, when, like, literally time stops. 0 Celsius is 273 Kelvin, and that's the freezing point. There is no reason to start this graph at 0K, since the temperature of the planet never comes anything close to it. Putting it in Kelvin makes it unclear the very real temperature changes we have seen over the last century, because A, most people can convert from Kelvin to Celsius, never mind Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit is a weird scale, man. Quickly enough to understand what the numbers mean. And B, when you have a graph that goes from 0 to 300, all the differences that occur between 273 and 285 are completely obliterated. Yeah, you can have like a degree change of 5 degrees, which globally is absolutely massive, and it doesn't show because it's like, you know, a smidgen of a % difference. Like, God, what are you doing? Stop. This is also a bar graph that should be a line graph. Temperature is continuous data, which is what line graphs are for. A line graph is not required to start at 0 like a bar graph is. This is where a line graph that started at 273 Kelvin, it would tell a difference and much more accurate story. By making a bar graph and putting it in Kelvin, they can minimize our climate fluctuations. It is like if they graphed someone's body temperature before, during, and after a fever, put it in Kelvin, started at 0, and then claimed the person's temperature never changed, even though the person was hospitalized with a fever of 104 Fahrenheit. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. I applaud you, good sir. I feel less insane now. Moving on. Coronavirus risk assessment by community. Gray, green, yellow, red. Okay, thank you for telling me what colors are. So what does this graph actually tell me? I think you missed the key information here. Italian descendants in the world. Oh god. This is just someone who realized how they could like expand a 2D picture to make it look fancy 3D and decided like, I'm gonna use this no matter what. The global guide to plugging in. A, B, C, D, F, G, G. I can't read this. Why is there a gradient? What does that mean? What is gradient? Many countries use more than one electrical outlet. For example, China uses 2 main outlets. In some cases, different outlets, such as in Europe, are still compatible with different plugs. Okay. But the shades are still like really close to each other. It doesn't tell me anything, and I still don't understand what the gradient means. I'm gonna go sleep and cry myself to sleep. I do hope you had an amazing experience in this video, you beautiful bean, and that you sleep nicely and sub to the channel so I can see you here again, because I will miss you otherwise. I already miss you. I haven't even ended the video and I already miss you. Well, I hope to see you next time, you beautiful bean. Have an awesome rest of your day.